Hello. I got a message, but I guess I'm not titling this one anyways. I thought about it sometimes it's like maybe I should just post and just ramble, but it's like I like to post, like I said, it's like whenever I have something from God. And I'm trying to be better about, being consistent and stuff like that. Like I got a message the other day, but it's like it kind of eluded my brain right after. That's why I'm kind of like I like to write my thoughts down a lot of times. Sometimes, I just like to write in general. You know what I mean? A very like creative. I guess I'm very creative when it comes to words. I guess that's another reason when you have sometimes it's like the tongue can be sharp, so I try to. That's another reason I like to post whenever I get something from God, because then it's like there's a center point focus in what I'm posting. But kind of what I got was this. When you're like someone who's like anointed of God and you're like on your spiritual path, it's like almost like the devil has like not just spirits and demons, demons or like people, you know what I mean? Because it's like either you're led of the light or you're led of God. I mean, either you're led of God in the light or you're led of, a demonic force. You know what I mean? And it's like almost like the devil has like bloodhounds, you know what I mean? And that can either be like demonic forces, demons, or his people in the flesh that are just led of God. It's like, and sometimes people don't even know why. They just be angry. Light irritates demons. And that's like another thing I got. It was like, that's why you can't get so mad with people, people shouldn't be allowed to treat you however. But you gotta think about it. You're led of God, led of the light. Some people be led of the darkness, and like, and they feel empowered that way, just like, or they find it empowering, and it's a different form. But some are meant of the darkness, and some are meant of the light. Some of us are meant of both. You know what I mean? I guess just because of the bloodline you come from. But it's like almost kind of like it's like second nature. Like if you respect God and you are following your path and you just want to stay in alignment, you know what I mean? It's like almost the opposite. Like people of the dark, wanting to bring destruction, confusion, disruption. And I've said this before, like sometimes things that are of the dark, you know what I mean? Like, it's like not necessarily like, there's no really like bad blood there, because it's like, what the devil meant for evil, God turns for good, you know what I mean? And if you're like led of God, it's like, it's a spiritual battle. And, we've been given authority to speak to it, but it's like there's no coincidences, light can't exist without dark, you know what I mean? But I got that, like, like there's like, spiritual and physical, like, bloodhounds, that like sniff out, you know what I mean? The children of God. I had like a conversation with someone the other day, and it was like, I was telling this person, I was like, I wanted to get like a tattoo, and it's like I want it like, and like I want like a middle finger somewhere. And like the guy was like, as a man, and like he got tattoos, and I didn't go into it, but I was like, well, if we're talking about, you're so like about the Bible, don't defile your body. But it was just like, I'm the kind of person, it's like I like to let people have their own opinions, and I was raised around a lot of religious people, but I was just like, because I looked into it, the middle finger can be sign of protection. And it was just like, I was like, it's kind of like that. It's like, you can be talking to someone and they like, sometimes people just want to contradict you. You just be living your life and they just want to contradict you. It's like almost like a heat-seeking missile, like just looking for opposition or creating it. You know what I mean? Because like I said, some people are led of the light and God, and some people are led of the dark. And it's like this sometimes when people are unhealed. You know what I mean? It's like, and I've said this before, it's like, certain traumas and wounding are attached. Certain demons are attached to certain things. You know what I mean? Like, or I guess maybe more attracted, to certain parts of you when you're unhealed, Because when you've been through some really strong trauma, it's like almost like the after effects. It's like, that's why they have the term PTSD, like whenever you've been through some things, it's almost kind of like you're still in shell shock. And like I said, it's like God's really healed me emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And that's the thing is, like, it's like, I realize it's like I trust God, you know what I mean? And I give him the glory, but it's like I've got to trust my excellence, you know what I mean? And what I'm capable of. Because it's like I give all the credit to God, but it's like, it's like everything leads up to, like everything you go through is conditioning you, strengthening you, growing you. What I found is like whatever you're going through one season is strengthening you for the next, and whatever you're in this season, you were prepared for in the last. You know what I mean? I had a cousin say, like, if you don't learn your lesson, God will test you again to see if you're stupid. So it's like almost like that's why don't get so frustrated. It is frustrating, you know what I mean? It is, but it's like I'll be saying to myself, like, God, guard my heart, bridle my tongue. You've not given me a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. Greater is he who was in me than he who was in the world. You know what I mean? God, you're not the author of confusion. A lot of times if I'm around people in public, I definitely have my headphones in. You know what I mean? Not today, Satan. But you know what I mean? Like, that's why a lot of times, like you'll find people just like have the attitude of contradiction. It's like it's a spiritual thing. Yeah, it's like almost like a witch hunt. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna find something. It's like, I'm gonna bring you down. I'm gonna knock you down a peg or two. I'm gonna bring you down to size. But it's like, because for me, it's like, whenever you have, one of the last jobs I had, it was like, one of the patients I had, he's like, why are you so happy? I'm like, the joy of the Lord is my strength, And when you've got God, it's like, you've got that joy and that peace that surpasses all understanding. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's kind of what I got. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm one who likes analogies. I really do. I like, because I guess it gives me like a visual understanding. And I myself, when someone's explaining something, it's kind of like when they have like real life experience and real life application. Like, it's someone who does hair, I like listening to them talk about it, you know what I mean? If somebody knows a lot about plants, it's really interesting, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, it's just a part of them, it's simpatico. It's like watching it's seeing something, a part of someone's passion, a part of their soul. When you see someone's passion, it's like you see their soul. But that's kind of what I got, and I'll post some more, you know what I mean, videos. I'm trying to push myself to be more consistent, but I think I'm gonna start reading a couple spiritual books in the Bible a little bit, but to get inspiration. But yeah, you have a good day.